master's program for the intake for you to begin your studies in 2025 have now begun opening for applications. At the time of recording of this video, only a few programs have opened for applications, but it is bound to keep on going. More and more programs will start opening. Some will open in November, others in December, others might even open in January. So if you're thinking of applying for an Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters program, which is fully funded by the European Union, then this video is for you. So please listen until the very end. And if it is not for you, please go ahead and share it with somebody else who can benefit from it so we can keep on growing this channel. Now, the Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters program, as the name suggests, is a joint masters program that is usually delivered by at least a minimum of 2 European universities, and it adds up to 1 degree. Whereby, for example, if you're thinking of coming to study artificial intelligence, then maybe a university in Spain, another university in Portugal have come together to bring this masters, and you will get to study to at least those 2 universities in Spain and in Portugal, and this would lead eventually to 1 degree. Now, these master's programs are usually fully funded, which means that you will be getting a stipend, a monthly stipend of about 1,400 euros that will help you with your accommodation and living, and also they will waive all your fees and they will give you insurance, and then you get to go around Europe, because during your downtimes you possibly could travel or you can go for your internship. And so it's one of the most lucrative programs, and as you can imagine, is quite competitive. Now, if you're thinking of applying for any one of these programs, I need you to listen up, because you need to gather your documents first. And the first thing that you also need to do is go through the catalog, and I will leave a link down below so that you can be able to understand exactly what to do. So you would first go through that catalog if it's your first time seeing that catalog, and identify the programs that you could qualify for. And these programs, you can qualify for them either through your experience or the skill set that you have, or perhaps what you studied in your undergraduate, or depending on the caliber of candidate that they are looking for. Each of the programs looks for different things in the candidates that they want to have. And so you need to do your own research and read through and identify the programs that you could qualify for, read the eligibility criteria, read the documents that they need, and then make your application and be on the deadline. So for example, if a program opened their application in October, then they might be closing sometime maybe in December or in January. They really stipulate this on their program website, and in fact they also emphasize this on their social media handles, so you can easily find any one of those programs on any social media handle. It could be on LinkedIn, it could be on Instagram, it could be on Facebook, pretty much anywhere. Now, if you're thinking of applying and you're like, okay, sure, I have gone through the catalog, and in fact, when you go on that catalog, there are 2 website links, and you would need to be very careful, because the main name of the program and the website that you need to apply for that program are 2 different things. So the main name, you will find, for example, Masters in Artificial Intelligence, right? And right below that Masters in Artificial Intelligence, there will be the acronym of that Masters program. And next to the acronym is the official website of where you actually need to apply for that program. Now, the official website is where you need to click on and do your application, and not the main name of the project. Now, you can click on the main name of the project just to maybe see how long the program is going to run, how much it has been funded, and other details about the consortiums that are involved, as well as the universities where you potentially may be going for winter school, for summer school, and so on and so forth. But the link that you want to click on is the one that is next to the acronym of that particular master's program. Now, when you click on that, you will see the eligibility criteria, you will be able to see the documents that are needed, and I will enlist the generic list of documents that is usually requested for by most of the programs. However, it is very program dependent. And one of the things that you need, obviously, is your international passport. So if you have not yet got your international passport, then this is your chance to go and apply for it. I don't know whether you can be able to fast track it. However, what you can do in place is to request your consortium or the committee of the program that you're applying for, whether you can submit the national ID in place of your international passport as you wait for it to be processed. Now, they can easily say yes or no, because this is at their sole discretion. So make sure that you are on time. If you can be able to fast track the process, then even better. If not, then you can plead with the program to maybe submit your passport at a later date. The second thing that you definitely want to make sure that is ready is your CV. It is usually preferred and recommended that you create your CV on Europass format. I have spoken about this, and maybe I will do a new video about the Europass format CVs, and it is for free to actually access the Europass CV website, and you can pretty much create your CV using this website, and it generates a PDF that is maybe 1 page or 2 pages that is acceptable in the European universities. So this is recommended that you recreate your CV under this format. However, some of the programs are not very picky with the format of the CV, but it is very important for you to actually do it on the Europass format. Another thing that you definitely need is the statement of purpose. The statement of purpose is either going to break or make your application, because this is where you really tell people who have never met you before that they need to fund you for this program. So you need to make sure that you are selling yourself as great and as well as possible, and not putting in words that are really what I call poverty porn. So make sure that you are really writing exactly who you are, what skill sets you have, what you're bringing into the program. And again, I've spoken about this statement of purpose in a previous video on this channel, and you can check it out. I will definitely leave a link on the description box below so you can watch it and see exactly what to write on your statement of purpose. Another thing that you will be requested for in most cases will be your residence certificate, and your residence certificate is a document that shows that you live in a certain area or a certain address, and this can be things like a utility bill, water bill, and electricity bill. And in most cases for African applicants, usually you do not have these kind of things, and so in place of this, you can utilize the chief's letter. So you would need to go to your local chief and request for a residence certificate stating that you have been living in a certain area for a certain period of time. Usually this is a quick process, and it costs as low as even 200 Kenya shillings in Kenya. And so you can be able to obtain this much faster. Another thing that you obviously need would be your degree certificates as well as your transcripts. So if you have recently graduated and these 2 documents have not yet been processed, then it's time to actually go and visit your administration and ask them to offer you these 2 documents. If they cannot yet offer these documents, you can request for your administration to actually offer you a letter of completion, which you can use in place of these 2 documents. And you have to actually ask the consortium or the committee that you will be issuing first your letter of completion, and once they process, your university processes the certificate as well as the transcripts, then you can submit those much later. So you need to first ask before you can just submit a letter of completion. Now, another thing that you will be asked for would be the English language test. Now, this is not for all the programs. It is very dependent on a program, and the language test is either an IELTS test and so on and so forth. There are several tests that are usually recognized by several Erasmus Mundus joint masters programs, and you have to check on each and every one of the sites whether they accept this one and not the other. And you can request also, again, at the very sole discretion of any one of the programs, you can request for a waiver for that English language test on the basis of you having studied your undergraduate in English. However, you do need to obtain a a letter from the university stating that you actually studied in English, and so they can use that letter in place of you submitting an English language test. Now, this you have to ask before. So if you're listening to this and you are interested in a certain program and they're requesting for an English language test, then you can request for this waiver. They can say no, and it's okay if they say no, and you would need to make arrangements to do that English language test. Now, another thing that you definitely need is to have recommendation letters, and these recommendation letters could be either from your professors in the universities, your supervisors in the universities. It could also be from your employer. It could also be from your mentors. These are some of the things that are actually stipulated on each of the program websites, so you can be able to see exactly what type of recommendation letters are required from me. In most cases, it would be from university lecturers or maybe your supervisor from the university, and in some cases the program that you're applying for, the Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters program that you're applying for, might request for an official email of a supervisor who might recommend you. So it is time to create rapport or recreate the rapport that you had with some supervisors or lecturers in your university, such that they can write for you the best of the best recommendation letters there is, and such that you can stand out as a good candidate. Now, another thing that you definitely want to make sure that is ready is the application form. I mean, it's easy to say that, you know, the application form is quick, but you need to fill out the application form. Some of the programs actually have the application form separately, whereby you do need to apply that scholarship in a different form, which you need to upload. And so you have to check that out, because sometimes it can take time for you to fill in some details. So this is very, very crucial. Now, another thing that you need to make sure of is the deadline, obviously, because if you fall short of the deadline, then this is a quick fire way of you being disqualified. And again, you don't want to be disqualified as a quick fire way. You at least need to go through the process, and maybe if a program is actually doing interviews, then at least do the interview and get to understand exactly what is required of you. Now, one other thing that you need to check out on the eligibility criteria is whether or not they have published the criteria of how they will choose the candidates and the number of points they will give to each and every check. So most of the programs will tell you maybe for statement of purpose we will give 20%, or for CV we will give 40%, or for your motivation we will give 50%, and so on and so forth. So you definitely need to check this out, because this will be your guide of where to put more strength and more oomph as opposed to other areas. Now, this video is a very small array of exactly what you need to prepare for. It's a lot. It can be overwhelming, but it can be done if you do it step by step. You don't need to sit down one night and do everything and complete it. Please take your time. This is the reason as to why once they open for applications, they usually give like a month deadline, or 2 months or 3 months, so that you can take your time and until you can be able to submit that application. Make sure that you do a very good application. And another thing that you also need to make sure of is that some of the programs might say you need to submit the application once you start applying within maybe like 42 days. So if the 42-day mark ends, then your application will be withdrawn and maybe you need to do a new one. So please check out all the nitty-gritties on each and every program website. Now, I will leave this video at that, and I will keep on doing several other videos within the season between now and December. So you have to check out my YouTube, you have to check out my other social media handles as well, whenever I have a webinar or whenever I am going live on my YouTube or wherever else, and you can be able to see exactly what to expect. I also talk about several other scholarships as well, so you can be able to also check out which ones would be relevant for you depending on your application and your candidacy and what exactly you want to do. So until next time, I will leave it at that. See you. Bye.